it's your man RC Newbie, man. I'm back at it, man. It's been a long time. For those of you that have been following me for a while, I truly appreciate all the support. I apologize for the long hiatus, but family, work, all those things come into play. I hated missing last season, hated not being out there with the fellas, having a good time, trash talking as always, but sometimes you got to prioritize some things. But the season's about to kick off, so I'm good. You know what I mean? Everyone's healthy. We're blessed. Everything is great. So now it's time for me to get back to the hobby that I fell in love with and get out here and have a good time. I'm going out tomorrow to trains, get some practice in, take the truggy up, see what I can do there, get a good feel for the diff changes that I made, some setup changes that I made also. I want to take some time and get up there and see what we can do. It stinks that, it's a 2.5+ hour ride to get there just to get some practice in. So we got to figure out a way to get some areas in the Baltimore area, DC area, something where we can get some practice in without having to drive 2.5 hours to get some practice. But it's great to be back, man. It's great to be making videos again. I was thinking about putting some stuff up from previous races that I had never released. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to start fresh, kick it back off. See if we can get our subscribers up to that 1,000 mark. That's the goal. Try to really push that, So if you've been rocking with me before, tell somebody about it. Have them come subscribe to the channel, man. We're trying to get the numbers up to 1,000. That's the goal for this season. Get to 1,000 subscribers. What you got behind me here is I've been doing some maintenance on the buggy also. Took the center diff out. I'm going to do a diff change. Kind of walk you through how I do things, why I do things the way I do. Talk about my base setups, stuff of that nature, But in the long hiatus, of course, I brought a whole bunch of stuff, Like now you see the truggy wing is a little beat up. We're going to change this out. I brought those things already. If you need a wing for your truggy, the part number is IF491, and then the last two is the color. So mine is BK because it's a black wing. Hope you can see that. Hope that's in focus, But I guess it would be YW if you want it yellow, or BL if you want it blue, whatever the case may be, But replaced all of that, and replaced the one-piece wing stay. And again, that part number IF615. I guess they only come in black. They don't even offer you a different option, But bought some stuff, man. Just happy to be back out having some fun, And then next week we're down in Myrtle Beach, my first race of the season and first race in almost 2 years, 18 months at least, so that I actually got out there and raced. But, I fell in love with this hobby. Still ain't good at it yet, still learning my way around, but, definitely not done with it just yet, So we want to switch the camera around, get over here and show you how I break a diff down, what I'm looking for, what I'm changing to, and talking about my setup. All right, and I got to get some gloves on. All right. Be right back with you. Okay, so as I said, we're going to talk about what I do in maintaining my diffs. One thing that I do as a newbie is I try to get all the tools that I'm going to need for the job that I'm doing and have them set out already. That way I don't have to be in the middle of something. Oh, I forgot this. Oh, I need that. Then you're worried about dropping something, spilling something, making a mess, forgetting a step in the process. This way, if I have everything laid out from the beginning, I don't have to worry about it. The Ryobi here to remove the screws, and then when I'm putting the screws back in, I only go so far. Whenever I'm drilling in the plastic, I never use the power tool to get all the way in to make a tight connection. I didn't hand tighten it, depending on the track that I'm going to, the race that I'm going for my center diff, it's either 10,000 or 7,000 usually. I just replaced the rear diff. That's why the 5,000 is out. And I'm still got to do the front. But I'm going to go with 7,000 in this center diff. But the 10,000 was out to show you that sometimes I do put 10,000 in. All depending on your track conditions, what you're getting out of your car, whether you're pushing or pulling, how you're on power or off power, whatever you're getting as a result from the diff oils you're using, you may need to go up or down. But I try to start with a baseline of 775 and then work my way up or down from there. But for the most part, that usually works well, depending, almost every track that I've been on, Every now and then I've moved up to 10, 10, 7. I've done that. and I've went 573 before. So it all depends on where you are, you know. But first thing you do, obviously, after you get all your stuff out, is to take the screws out. So give me 1 second here. Make sure you're in reverse mode, because that can also be a problem. You know? And let's get these out. This board that I'm using here from cowrc.com has a little magnetic section down here. Your screws don't fall out. Perfect. Love it. Alright. If you notice, there's I have a paint marker. It's got 46 on here. The number of teeth in the gear here. So one way to keep track of, you know, if you're making changes, you know, you need to know which one you're using. Is the camera picking it up? You got 46 teeth on this one here. So screws out, all set off to the side. Then I take my shop towels, get them all set up. This thing still looks really good. Like I said, I didn't do a lot of racing. Gasket in there looks good. Got your sundial here. You got your planetary gears here. This is not even worth changing. But for sake of the video, we're gonna change it all out. Dump that upside down. And yes, I got my gloves on. You know, for those of you with big hands, you know, I found that these Curad, whatever you say it, these work well. You know, we bought these, I don't know, by the case, I guess it is. Constant. It's one after the next. So all that hopefully pops out, drains out. Sometimes I'll do this like I do my shocks. I'll hang them over a plastic solo cup with paper towels inside of that. Set up like this. But for now, I'm just gonna have to come out and drain against the tile. That last sundial or moon dial in there, moon gear, whatever, everyone has a term for them. That one may take a minute, so I just turn it upside down on the rag, paper towel, and eventually it'll fall out as the silicone begins to drain out. This one I use the tweezers, spread them a little, and without damaging the gear, kind of pry it off a little. And this one too, sometimes just letting it sit upside down may be enough for it to come off. There you go. Got a gasket in here. Got this other piece here. This is what the tweezers is for. Because if trying to get this out with your hand, ooh, good luck with that. That's when you got fingers like mine. Take that out. And now this piece will just slide out. There is a ring in there. There's a gasket, a little old ring in there. Be careful of that. This here needs to be cleaned up for sure. And then I'll drop a little bit of this green slime in this little channel on here. And I just changed these rings before, so I'm not gonna change them now. And then your bearing, pull your bearing off, inspect that, clean that off, because this thing is filthy. And we'll get that great and get it right. I always take the shop tiles and cut them in 4s. Just makes it easier to handle. It seems like if you don't, then you're always folding it over, trying to fold it again, trying to get to the clean spot. This way, you know, you always got a clean spot to work with. You don't have to be perfect. You know, just, there you go, cutting 4s. And now, start to clean it. So I'm gonna clean the gear first, which is filthy. Spray that with a little isopropyl alcohol. And now to the reason why we're here. You know, so some of your planetary gears have a spacer or washer on the end. Mine do. So be sure that you get those off, get those cleaned as well. So it's just the rule that I do is everything is in whatever part, however many parts it is, I just make sure I got all that before I move on to the next phase. So it's 4 of these little planetary gears, 2 of these, 4 of the spacers or washers, and 1, I don't even know what that is, 1 holder oner. We're gonna give it a name. So we're gonna clean this up next. So bearing clean. I don't even know the name of this part. The part that the drive shaft goes into, or axle, or whatever it is. There's some signs of wear on here. Too close. Yeah. Where the oxidizer comes off. But it's fine. And what I look for damage is on the inside. Let me use this here. I look in here to see if there's any, concaveness or any kind of damage done to in here where you're not getting a consistent hit from your axle. So like this thing here, you see these 2 end pieces here. Is that in focus? Yeah. They obviously go in here, and if there's damage done to that, you can wear a groove in there, and then you'll get like a hitch when it moves around. This is another thing that we just added to the collection. Drive shaft correcting tool. I'll get onto that in another video. But for now, it's about the diffs. Over here, another piece. I grab a toothbrush. Got an old brush. Got the, or you can get, the mechanical kind. I got either one, doesn't matter. Just charge it up, let it do the work for you. But for the sake of you guys having to hear that in the video, I'll just use this one. Now you're into your actual casings itself. And we got to reach down in there, get that one out. Got it. Now I try to keep these separated, so there's no confusion on which side what came out of. So I'll move this over here now. And then take that out. Some of these have spacers on them. Some don't, some do, depending on your design, your layout. Let me clean this off again. It's filthy. Last year, I didn't expect to be gone as long as I was. It's just one thing kept coming up, where I didn't get out there. So I never even got around to getting into the shop and working on the cars or doing anything. So, but now it's that time of year again, and I'm ready to get out there. Some people change the gasket, some people don't. If you do, just make sure you line the holes up. Like I try and change my gaskets maybe after the 3rd race. 3rd time out racing, so to speak. I don't change them every time I change my diff fluid. It just gets to be too much. Green slime on here, this little indentation here. I don't know if the light is picking it up or not, but there's a little indentation in there. That's where I'm going to put the green slime.
Now I use my tweezers to line up. There's little holes. Let me show you on another one. There's holes here that you have to line up so that you can get this thing to go through, and that's what keeps it in place. And then you find your holes, and then I use these grooves here to give me more room to put this little channel piece in. Right? Okay. Now from there, the large gear, if you remember the back, has a groove on the back that will line up with this bar we put in here. Try to get that relatively in the same direction. Feel around and get that in there. And when you're in, you'll know. As you spin, you'll see it spin. And just give it a little press. It may not be exactly flush with the top of this, but it's pretty close to, depending on how your setup is. You know, but I'm giving it pressure, and it's all the way in as far as it's gonna go. And there's no play. When I rotate this, it's rotating the gear. So it means it's on that little bar that sticks, okay? So now here's where everybody differs. Some put in the planet gears first. Some put a little oil in. It's whatever floats your boat. So remember, we're going with 7,000. Excuse me. I'm gonna drop a little in first. Not a lot. Basically enough that would cover the gear. And while that's working its way down, I'll put together my first set of planetary gears. I did not name these things planetary gears. I don't know who the old head is that did, but it's the notion that these things rotate around like a planet or like a sun or whatever the case may be. The flat piece is right where it needs to be, right side up. Okay. Some people now go and put a little more diff oil in. I don't. I just put the little bit on at the bottom. Don't ask why. I don't know. That's just how I've always done it. And now I'll put together the next one. And then once I get that connection where these two pieces are in, then I'll add more fluid to that. So give me a second to put this together. So now I'm going to try to be in the right direction. Drop it in, plan it over. And I don't know if you can see or not, but it's not exactly where it needs to be. But a couple taps of the tweezers and it locks in place. And you can easily tell because that's almost below level here. So that's it. Simple job. Good thing it wasn't a lot of oil in there. Now when I'm filling up, the main thing, I'll go until I get across that crossbar. And then I'll rotate a little bit. Now you want to get the diff oil all down in there. A few turns, let it move its way around. And you'll see it start to fill in the crevices in the corners. And now as far as where do I stop, I try to come, get that air bubble off of there. I try to come just to the very top of the planet gears. I don't want to exceed that because remember, you're going to put this gear upside down into that spot and it's going to force the fluid out. So if you overdo it, you're going to have fluid coming up through your holes. So you want to be just short of the planetary gears. It's close, but not exactly to the top of where I want to be. And if you think that your gears are riding up because you don't have resistors on the top, just use your tweezer and give it a little tap, make sure it's down. So now looking at it, it looks like this planet gear is maybe at the halfway or 3/4 mark. So I'm going to add some more. Keep getting the air bubble. All right. And that looks to be good. All right, there you go. Couple twists, couple turns, see where we are, and that looks to be almost perfect. Where, for lack of, not giving you the exact diameter, it looks as if that one top piece of the planetary gears is not submerged in the diff oil. Like I'm up to just that point, and with that, I'm happy. Now we put the top together. This one's a little easier to see. You should be able to see the hole inside there to make it easier to insert this tab. Don't even need the tweeters for that one. Nice and simple. Your top main gear. Some call it the sun gear, moon gear. And now, as you can see, these 4 holes here line up with 4 holes on the diff cap. And you want to make that match up so that you can put your screws back in without doing any damage to your plastics. Okay, so I'm here. I'm gonna line these holes up. Get everything locked in. Good to go there. Man, as I was saying before, when I'm doing my screws, I will use my Ryobi for a portion of the drill, but never drilling all the way into plastics. Okay, so from this angle, you should be able to see that the screws are not all the way in. So for that, do it by hand. You may have a little oil on your hands. You may have a little oil on your diff. If so, just grab it up in a hand towel and try to keep it from moving around on it. And anything that was on my gloves or whatever I've got here, but no leakage. We're all clean. There it is. Here it is. Changing the 46 tooth center diff. And I have this running in I run a 46 in my buggy. That's it. So we went 7,000 in the center. We did 7,000 in the front, and we just did the 5,000 in the rear. That's my base setup. We're gonna go out and get some practice at trains, and then make adjustments accordingly. I know that when we go down the Myrtle Beach, it's not clay, but it's a real compacted dirt. So I may have to change the setup when we get there, but that's what I'm gonna take down there. I'm going with that base setup of 775, and that one I might have said 3. I'm sorry, 775, and we'll make it happen from there. But folks, again, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Glad to be back. Want to see you guys soon.